Greetings and welcome back, everybody. This is Into the Nexus, a podcast all about heroes of the storm. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, here as always with Kyle Fergusson, and also here as always with a season roll that is utterly meaningless.
Oh, it's true, though. It's true. We shouldn't get our hopes up. But this is a extension of the stealthy variety, which is often the MO.
No, stop calling it stealthy. No. This is how it has been for 2 years.
I know. I've said it before. I don't blame them. In fact, at this point, I really don't want any constant apologies. That'd just be even weirder. Like, if any, we're starting to treat you like that friend who might happen to show up, and that's fine. And that's cool. We all have that friend. You invite them, you don't get a text back, and maybe they grace you with their presence. And that'd be really exciting. It'd be really fun, but you don't make plans around them. And that's great.
Yeah, I have quite a few of those. Most of them, as a matter of fact.
But imagine the opposite, right? Of like, we are so sorry. We apologize for not receiving your text in an orderly fashion. We promise to do better in the future. No, just this is the preferable outcome.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Like at this point, I don't know. Just take the date off. Just
yeah.
At this point, I feel like they should just give us a warning when it's going to end. At this point, like give us a 4-week warning when it's actually going to end. And other than that, just take the. And again, who knows how difficult it is to actually make these changes happen in game, right? But like, just get rid of the war, like any sense of 2 months remaining, whatever. Like, get that out of there. And then when there's 4 weeks left, just be like, yo, 4 weeks.
There's a number of factors here, including just how life's been recently. But have we just all stopped caring about seasons? I'm not sure.
Kyle, I'm sorry. I've lived in Florida most of my life, so seasons have never mattered to me.
But, like, let's go back. Let's go back 6 years, maybe. Like, really, Overwatch was kind of the height of not only, like, loot box dumb, but, like, holy crud, the new year. Like, get excited, everybody. It's Halloween. Woo! And now I feel like I'm kind of over the holidays and seasons,
I still enjoy them.
But should this be the reason for the season? Like, should we just say no more seasons? We're just like the full year, just all the boxes are open, the Christmas stuff's available, like just
I don't know. I still like it. If there's ways to manage that and have it turn on and have it turn off, I still like it. I'd still like to retain it. Time is so meaningless now, Kyle. I like to have a delineation wherever I can find it.
a little reminder, not only the Florida weather, but just a little reminder that somewhere someone's slightly colder than you.
Yeah, and that's not me being like nihilistic either, dude. Like, as a nerd who most of my life preferred to stay inside, whatever, that's fine. But yeah, I do like a little reminder of the passing of time. Especially because I live somewhere where 90% of the time it's summer, and every once in a while you go, surprise, I have to find my pants. Those are the 2 seasons in Florida.
Yeah, for the 2 days a year, right?
Yep. Stay inside or find a body of water, and oh crap, where are my long sleeves?
I have probably been to more World of Warcraft New Year's celebrations than actual New Year's celebrations. I probably watched, in my lifetime, it's certainly like you just cut off like 10 and before. I have attended more fireworks shows in World of Warcraft than I have in life. Real person.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not true for me because we have friends who can see the local display from their home. So we go. Okay. We don't have to deal with traffic and all that crap because we can just sit in their backyard and watch the fireworks go off. For you West Coast Floridians, that's the Sarasota one. It's one in Sarasota. We get to watch the Sarasota City fireworks without having to find a place to park, and it's very nice. And we absolutely exercise that freedom.
Sure. The city version is the rooftop hangout.
Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah, but New Year's, it was a split. When I was younger, man, I used to go party New Year's like every freaking year. Now, we stay home and feel old. We flip on MTV and see who's performing this year and go, I don't know who this is. And last year, it was terrible. Actually, I think MTV was just running some other channel's thing, so we actually watched the Post Malone concert. It was wonderful.
Okay.
It's wonderful. It was free on YouTube. It was a great performance. Highly recommend it. Big fan of that Post Malone. I think he's going some places.
Yeah, he might be an up and comer to you.
Anyways,
really, do we need to prepare ourselves for a lack of Halloween here? Is that one of the best holidays?
Oh, we better not. Those are the best skins in the game. Love Halloween.
Yeah,
We gotta have something else. So again, not that I think it matters. How long do they reset it for?
Now we are set out to November 9th.
Oh crap! There's gonna be no Halloween.
Does this mean Christmas is from November to April?
Probably.
Oof. My opinion. I want to take all of the holiday season and pick it up and put it in March, so that it slowly increases in like misery and colddom. So at the height of when I would be like over winter, we can celebrate the fact that winter exists. We front load the holiday happy seasons and the joy of coldness way too much.
Yeah, these are the type of conversations I would love to have openly with devs from Heroes, but I just feel like we'll never get straight answers.
Yeah, we know they like to stockpile their content. We know that this is likely I want to say this is likely a hero, that they are being delayed. There's been a lot going on naturally at Blizzard. The delay is not unexpected in any way. Due to so what you'll see in game. Oh, let's talk about that real quick. What you'll see in game is that it went from 1 month, 1 week to 2 months. But when we're in a over 1 month period, there's no more week notice on that announcement. So Spazzo on Reddit, using the in-game calendar or doing his special weird things he does, messed with it in such a degree so that he saw that it was actually a month and 2 week extension, not just 3 weeks. That would make it 2 months.
Okay. So that does seem specific.
Yes, and Hogger was in December of last year, and that was with May earlier on in 2020. So this is very likely to be our new hero release date on November 9th.
You're my new hero release.
Oh, thank you.
Anytime.
I think we should all, of course, be tame. We need to gauge our expectations. It may even be a little early, perhaps, because we're seeing more a push towards December for those new heroes. But I find myself a little excited about it. Of course, there's been a lot of attention on the game recently. There's been a lot of people coming by the Reddit being like, "Hey, what's up? I just found this game. This is awesome. What's going on, everybody?" And a lot of people have getting themselves a little excited about, Diablo 2 tie-ins, what's going to happen with Overwatch 2 when that comes out. Of course, we've seen over multiple, particularly World of Warcraft expansions, that schedule does not influence Heroes in the least. But it's cool to see so many people curious about that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's been a lot. Are people actually expecting like crossover events? I don't think we're ever going to see those again. Like,
no, but it's a fun thing to imagine.
Yeah. I don't mean this because it sounds as negative as I feel like I'm coming off.
We're good. This is a gauging of expectations.
Yeah,
right?
like to me, I'm just like, yeah, these are just truths. This is just Heroes as it is now. Like the game, it's just about playing the game at this point. This is gone are the days of spectacle. If you're here, it's because you like playing it. And as far as updates are concerned, you should be looking forward to updates to the way we play Heroes of the Storm.
It's a fascinating marketplace. It's a fascinating time for video games. Like I of course am making content for Pokemon Unite, doing AO's Clubhouse. That is a bizarre cut down, and you realize just how much effort goes into making a hero. Better graphics, face in the corner, voices, not just whatever they do when they summon, as a Pokemon. Like they just make some random noise. Pika says Pika like a billion times. That's a little easier to record than all the voice lines, dances, emotes, B steps, hearthing, Heroes signed itself up for a ton of work. And it's amazing that games these days are coming out with completely different styles. Mobile games have so much less effort into them. Like these graphics that we have for the game are going to stand the test of time. And I had a really interesting conversation this week. Someone I was hanging out with Boogan Forever. Shout out to them. I just joined them as an NGS sub, as a tank for them. So I'm going to get to play a little bit of NGS should somebody be busy. I'm really excited about that. I get to keep competing. And they were voicing their opinion of just how awesome the community is and how much they love doing this sort of NGS stuff and how small it feels. And they brought up WoW Vanilla, not WoW Classic. Like the feeling of vanilla. That like now you're standing in line, you see that priest pin, that warlock pin. That's what Heroes now has. It's a smaller community where people go, wait, is that Heroes of the Storm Jacket? Do you play Heroes? Oh my god! What's your name? What's your name in the game? Maybe I've seen you. What server? We don't have the server conversation so much, but there's this feeling that you know everybody on the ladder now, and they were expressing how much they love that. And of course, they're competing in NGS, which means they're not dealing with queue times, and so that mentality doesn't get to them because they just scrim or they have their NGS match. So this tightening of the community has been nothing but positive for those who have chosen to compete in these amateur tournaments.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way so much because we've had the talk about like the shift in competitive heroes, especially with the dawning of CCL, and how for us it kind of reminds us of the earlier StarCraft 2 days where it was an esport because there was enough interest, not because Blizzard was throwing money at it. And I think this kind of ties into it, like what you're talking about. Like, yeah, you see someone with like a Heroes of the Storm merch and you're just like, holy crap, dude, do we just become best friends?
Basically, right. We're in such an interesting sphere. We removed ourselves from what happened to StarCraft, which is a very fascinating and very bizarre story, in that we had Wings of Liberty, which was this extremely bombastic strategy game. Like you could look at it, you could see the bug things rolled into the people things, and they all melted.
Well, we had all heard the stories, right? We had all heard talk through slow internet tubes of the wild world of South Korea, where this game called Brood War was played competitively on local television. Like, oh my God, right. Could you imagine if that was happening in the States? And Halo fans were like, hey, excuse me, it is. Could you maybe give us some? And we're like, no, Blizzard games. But then StarCraft 2 came out and we were all like, well, maybe this is the time we pay attention. And we started like, you and I were like, all right, let's watch low quality recordings of South Korean tournaments at this time with GSL. But then Twitch happened. Like Wings of Liberty was there, was new, was fresh when Twitch happened. And I mean, it's weird looking back on. It didn't seem like anything crazy to me at the time. It was like, oh yeah, this is just, it's a new thing and people are into it.
Yeah, it was the natural evolution of the hobby. But I mean, look at what happened with Heart of the Swarm. It adds new toys that people can still use, easy to use toys, perhaps. It's certainly more micro needed for things like Vipers and everything else like that. I think that was Heart of the Swarm. Yeah, the Vipers were with the Swarm host and all that. But then we get to Legacy of the Void. And by all accounts, the company heavily starts listening to what pros want. And pros want to harass, and they want to be constantly juggling 1,000 balls so that other people can't juggle those balls so they can be better than them. And the game is left in that state over there. The Wings of Liberty, or
LOV,
Legacy of the Void. Legacy of the Void, for the at-home people, would be the equivalent of Genji meta left on forever for Heroes of the Storm. But when HGC ended, bam, you have that meta forever. The craziness that they had to execute on. And yet our game became more and more at home.
I like it better this way.
I agree.
That's
I
kind
agree
of
100%.
that is yeah. I mean, we've had different versions of this conversation before, and it's just I do not miss HGC balance patches.
No,
I really don't, because it was like watching. It was like watching Lamborghini announcement videos. Like, that's nice.
Okay.
This is never going to affect me. Like, I can't afford it. And I wouldn't know what to do with it if I had it. Which, frankly, most Lamborghini owners, I don't think, know what to do with those cars. They just let them sit there. But that's how I felt. I'm like, yeah, this does not affect me at all. At all. It'd be the same as if you and I like playing flag football and they change the rules in the NFL. It's like, cool. I don't care.
Yeah, but for me, that time was, I'll do my own analogy. It was like watching someone buy a really fancy grill and try to convince themselves they're going to use all these bizarre attachments on it.
Genji's the grill in this analogy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
Sure, it does great things, but you need the special fuel to do it. There's like a hot plate on the side. What are you hot plating by your grill? You go inside, there's an oven. You don't need a hot plate on your grill.
Actually, Kyle, I would highly recommend you put your cast iron skillet there. You like fry the crap out of things. You don't got to worry about getting grease all over your kitchen. It's wonderful.
Who's going to clean it? The thing's covered in grease.
You don't need to clean it. It's a grill outside.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets all, then you don't want to use it. It gets all gross.
What? No. It just goes on the ground for the most part. It's fine.
Anyway.
Sorry. Now chat room's yelling taquito grill.
Anyway, the season extent naturally kind of has my head thinking. And at the same time, I'm also kind of recentering. It's a weird thing. I brought up the Pokemon Unite stuff and how, the graphics are lower and how fast they're able to turn things out there. And I don't believe that they're perhaps overtaxing their team to do that, as we heard about happened in the past with Heroes of the Storm. At the same time, that game whets my appetite. I'm like, 10 minutes? No. I didn't even get to enjoy my farm. Allow me to go visit Heroes of the Storm now. And I'm just so happy to be a part of NGS again. And it's reinvigorating those smaller things. Like for them, I'm going to be doing tanking. Again, thanks to Boogan Forever for inviting me on to just be a sub even, because it just gets my brain going in more complicated ways. Because on the assassin front, yeah, I've got my Smurf account where I do my practice and I figure out a hero. Just moved over Falstad from that account. That's a real fun kind of thing. It's like my cards came in the mail for my Magic deck, and I finally add them to my real deck. I take out the paper ones that I had made, the fake cards. Now I've got the real card in there. Yeah, Falstad now in the main account. But I get to think about Diablo, Johanna, Mal'Ganis, things I haven't thought about for a really long time. I need to learn Stitches because he's really good. He's really important in coordinated play. And I need to be able to pull that off. Not really all that interested in Stitches. I don't really want to do it for random people.
That's how I feel right now, like looking where Kerrigan's at. Like, I want to play more Kerrigan, but also I ain't gonna be just rando Kerriganing in Quick Match or Storm League. Like that way, like, great disappointment, I feel, lies. More likely to do it in Storm League, but still, I want to practice. And Quick Match, that's a rough place to practice your carry.
No, and that's why these scrims have become so important. Like, there are entire discords dedicated to people making 5 stacks. Granted, if the currency in the game, it's a weird balancing act right now, because if they came through and they did like a big currency update, everybody, we're going to redo quests, we're going to redo how you purchase heroes, we're going to change this and that, the entire community would be in shambles. They'd all be terribly confused as to what to do, because a massive majority of us playing this game right now aren't actually putting that much time into modes where we get any sort of reward for it. We're all in scrims. We're all in 5 stacks doing customs and whatnot and practicing for our big NGS, which also won't see any sort of gold or level reward. Like, I have played so much Hogger over the last year. Well, 9 months.
Yeah.
An absurd amount of Hogger. And I'm like level 7 on the thing. Because I rarely ever bring it into a random environment. It's always in this isolated time chamber.
It's interesting, right? Like we talked just a few minutes ago about how like we both don't miss HGC balance patches, and yet look at you, you're now in your own competitive bubble where not everything you're playing translates to the game at home. Although I would argue your Hogger does.
Yeah, the Hogger's okay. Like, but you know, I see a decent amount of Kerrigan. I see amazing Kerrigans because they're NGS Kerrigans. I don't really see any Kerrigans out in the wild. I saw something absolutely disgusting this week that I would love to actually make balance for in the game. Never going to see it in the wild. My balance suggestion would be make Junkrat's trap setup time longer than Gorge lasts. Because you can imagine of what happened to me. You get hooked. You get gorged. Junkrat standing nearby is like, well, trap. And by the time you pop out of stitches, that trap is ready. It's a horrible place to be. He can also, by the way, throw down the trap, launch into the air, become a rocket business bomb, and then slam on top of you while you're in that trap.
Right now, Zagara's maw goes, look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power. That sounds like so much work compared to cast maw aim.
I did have my first ranked Zagara let through this week.
Oh,
and it was on the enemy side.
Shit. Oh, did you lose?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think it was last week I was sitting around talking about like, yeah, you know, you have the Banelings and they're zoning out and the Hydra's on, you can't access the Hydra to clear it, and yeah, it's gonna be trouble. This was in the 4-man lane on Braxus. They cleared our wave so fast that we were outpushed the entire time. If you were trying to clear their wave at all, you were receiving splash damage. The Banelings had bonus Banelings after the wave was cleared, so you were hiding behind the wave, and the Banelings would still come through and hit your billings and splash onto you. So everybody was just dying like crazy. Everybody's just dying like crazy.
My absolute favorite thing right now in Quick Match, because that's when I'm playing Zagara, are enemies who retreat, obviously, back towards their gate.
Did you just hit the gate with the Banelings?
You just aim them, yeah. We played a game earlier, the Illidan. What map were we on? The Illidan could have retreated north and gone around a secret, like the path. I'm trying to remember what map we were on. Doesn't matter. There was they could have gone north to escape. Instead, they just walked through the gate, and it kind of looked like they were gonna. And that's just where I sent all my Banelings, and they didn't make it. It was perfect. It was just, yeah. Obvious retreats make me real happy on Zagara.
And those sort of, you know, more 1v1 environments that I've seen in Quick Match over and over, particularly playing with you, they are unfortunate for that Illidan. But to witness the raw power of the lane clear, so much so that you couldn't even clear their lane, and you were pressured out of the lane. And before the first objective, your fort was gone on Braxis holdout. That was absolutely insane and oppressive. And I really came to know the frustration people are experiencing when they say, where's that nerf for Zagara right now?
I wish I was in your game where your team apparently didn't try and gank the Zagara, because, boy, people are ganking me like crazy.
Well, we had like a Sylvanas that was like instantly tilted by even the fact that there was a Zagara in the first place. We had a Genji that was really trying really out there, you know, trying to make it happen. But our primary range DPS was instantly not pleased.
Yeah, well, I think we've reached that point. Like I'm not saying it's right. You shouldn't throw. I'm not advocating for insta tilt, but we are definitely, I think, at the social point. We're at the social salt wall with seeing if a Zagara gets through. I expect the opposing team to tilt.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm just saying I expect it. I'm not saying I condone it. I'm just saying I expect it.
And it does seem like we are going to be heading that direction. We're very on the eve of a patch. But before we get to that, we kind of jumped right into news today. Let's talk about the bonanza. Let's thank our patrons.
Oh yeah, man, dude. Again, it's been a weird month. You know, some of you are leaving saying, "Yeah, I just don't want to support Blizzard things right now." Totally understand. We're not a Blizzard thing, though. I would like to point that out. But on the other side of that, we're getting new patrons, and I just really want to say thank you. It's a pretty major way that Kyle and I pay our bills. So thank you for the support, everybody. If you want to join, it's patreon.com/ITN. We've got some perks for you, like access to our Discord, an ad-free version of the feed. Gets served right up to you like a normal podcast. And, of course, access to join us for our monthly game nights. And we're doing one tonight. We call them Patron Bonanzas. We get together with our patrons. We have sign-ups. And we go into Heroes of the Storm. We have a good time. We party with murder. It's a murder party. It's great.
I'm excited. Tonight we're going to be doing our first round of quick matches rather than unranked. So we're going to be able to put together some devious combos. I would like to shout out to Group 1 for the night who all put Phil. You need some direction in your life, but I really appreciate you, and I'm excited to tell you what to play.
Rad. And we want to thank our newer patrons. So we've got new patrons this week. Thank you to Mr. I'm Stuck. I've been there. I've been stuck before. It is no fun. And Patrick Faria. Thank you for the support, you two. We really appreciate it. If you like what we're doing here on Into the Nexus, check out patreon.com/ITN. I also hope you enjoyed our first Nexus Gaming News this week. Kyle, you and I are doing extra content.
Yes.
We're going to do one news-focused recording a week. More Garrett and Kyle. We're going to put it out here. Patrons are getting it first, but it goes out to everyone the day after. And yeah, I had a lot of fun chatting D2 with you.
Me too, man. I had no idea you've never actually like played it. Like you didn't even know what was going on in the cinematic.
All I've ever played was the demo that existed back in. This is gonna sound weird, but I distinctly remember it being like the thing I did before 9/11 was playing the Diablo 2 demo that we had snuck onto all of the computers in the web design class.
Certainly gives it a date.
Yeah, we did that, and we put SNES emulators on, and we LANed the computers so we could play that Dragon Ball Z fighting game that was on the Super Nintendo in Japan only. We were really into that. We all played each other on that. Yeah. It was those old, do you remember the IMAX that had the swivel arm on like the half dome white base?
Sure.
That's what the web design class laboratory was made out of. This would have been 01, I guess.
Oh my God, AVP was 1999.
Yeah, we played that too.
That was our big sneak in the homework folder kind of business on the LAN at school.
Yep.
They made me come in to the office, the administrator of the lab, and I had to sign a piece of paper that I would stop hiding games. Yeah, I got in big trouble. I had like Metal Slug in there. I kept adding a bunch of arcade games. I knew how to the lime thing.
LimeWire?
Yeah, I knew how to do that when I was doing it at school.
You knew how to install LimeWire.
I knew how to get the games.
Oh, from LimeWire. Well, I mean, that is a talent because it was also very easy to think you're getting a game and get a virus. So
yes, well, never got unlucky there, but they did make me sign a piece of paper to stop.
What a shame! No, our web design teacher was cool. He basically taught us. He basically treated us like we had deadlines. If we met the deadlines, we could then do whatever we wanted. So if
nice.
We got it done. It was like, yeah, go have fun. It's a good time.
I had a guitar teacher like that. As long as we played the song for our test correctly, this was like acoustic guitar class elective. We could play Magic the Gathering.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
That's sick. We didn't have anything like that. Anyways, Bonanza tonight, going to be a good time. If you haven't checked out our first episode of Nexus Gaming News, it's not only going to be Blizzard news, by the way. Right now, we created it so that when there's updates to the lawsuit, we have a place to talk about it. But we're also going to talk about other big stories as they occur. So, Anyways, let's get back into this week's Heroes of the Storm news that we kind of started talking about right off the top of the show.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Stay a while and listen.
Well, we now know the patch is delayed, and it was also like hinted at in the only blue post we got this week, which was Redditor J-Rex sounded the summon patch notes horn. We need to make a soundbite for that, by the way. We need to figure out what the summon patch notes horn sounds like and turn it into a thing. I'm going to incorporate the Horn of Gondor.
Yeah, no, that's the one, right? Because, I don't know, he's in trouble, though. The horn Gimli blows, that was not
Helm's
an
Deep.
awful horn.
That was Helm's Deep, right? Before they open the hall's doors and they ride out on the horses?
Right, but I'm not sure of the implication of the Horn of Gondor, because, yes, everybody who's battling elsewhere all runs towards Boromir, but Boromir also dies. So I'd like our horn to be a little more happy.
But the next time the horn is blown, Zagara is going to die, so I think it's kind of fitting.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, so the overpowered hero is blowing the horn, and everybody goes to them.
It's not a perfect analogy, but, you know, we're working with what we got. But
yes.
Yeah, that was it. D. Warner replied with a Ragnaros flare, too soon, quote. Too soon.
I had to look this up, actually. I didn't know why too soon meant Ragnaros, but
what?
apparently
Molten Core, man.
Yeah, I don't
OG
remember
Molten
this at all.
Core.
I guess he was gathering elemental power, and you summoned him before he was ready to be summoned, and he would have been invincible or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Too soon, Executus. Did you fight Executus before? Yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah, that's the lore behind it. He would have. It would have been real bad if Ragnaros got to achieve full power.
Okay, so Ragnaros balance.
Maybe that's. Has there been hints at a Ragnaros rework? No.
The Tyrael's the
Tyrael's,
one we
Tyrael's
only know.
the hint.
So
yeah.
Rag
Tyrael's
would be a weird one.
I feel like Rag could use some love.
I think he's beautiful as he is. He's got some really good build diversity. They put all that work into his meteor business recently.
You should sing "You Are Beautiful" to Ragnaros. That's what I want to hear.
I'm not singing that. No.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure if do you mean the words can't keep you down song or just something else?
No, the other one. You're beautiful.
Oh, no. Certainly not that. No.
All right.
Oh, no.
You're beautiful.
No.
Yeah, that song was top 40 when I was working the last time I had a retail job. And I never need to hear that song or anything by Train again.
Oh, and then we got the afternoon. Oh, that whole time period.
Just
was
the worst.
I'll take Ed Sheeran any day.
That's how I became a Lady Gaga fan, because it was the thing I hated the least on top 40.
Yeah, Lady Gaga. That was a fresher breath air.
Yeah, I was like, oh, thank God it's Lady Gaga. Yes, okay, shower me in it.
Sweet. Okay, so
yeah,
Rag is great. Rag, I think Rag is a beautiful spot. I think he has not a heavy presence. I mean, maybe Dahaka's eating his lunch in higher league play. I certainly don't see a lot of Rags, but you just put in Warhead Junction into the rotation. He's got games played. You're working on Tyrael, which is grand, and there's other heroes like Probius that we would all like to see some cool stuff done with. But I do think that D. Warner is a tricky guy. And he likes doing these sorts of things, and I believe it. I think that Ragnaros is at least having something happen.
Maybe a skin. Oh my God, could you imagine?
That would be something.
And would explain the delay.
It would quell the masses for a time.
Yeah, maybe that would be a huge love letter, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be a good show.
Yeah, other than that, obviously, it's been a quiet week in Heroes of the Storm. I want to give a shout out, though, to one Reddit post this week in particular, because it was such a lovely misdirect, and that became a really apt PSA. If you missed this, got a link in the show notes for you, but Redditor Taunt posted... the title of the post was, would you like every hero in the game to have the ability to heal 10% health and mana for their teammates and themselves on a 30-second cooldown? And when you open this post, Kyle, did you see? First off, did you see this post?
I did.
Yep. When you open this post, inside the post itself was an all caps tirade about how that already exists and it's called picking up globes.
This took me down an interesting memory lane because I remember the whole globe. Let's call it a fiasco just for fun. I remember the tilt and the nerves being expressed about, oh no, everyone's going to die for globes. This will be the worst thing. Everyone's going to be running out there. No one's going to play the game correctly anymore. Since then, I feel like, particularly on that Smurf account I have where I do my practice, globes have gone long forgotten.
Yes.
And this was an excellent PSA to put out. Granted, it's not always your job. It's the tank's job, oftentimes, to actually go up there and grab that thing.
Yeah. There's so many exceptions, though. You know, your dive heroes on the retreats. Like, you know what really tilts me, Kyle? The Genji has finished the dive. Maybe they even cleaned someone up. But this is on the back of a team fight. We're all a little bruised. And the Genji, on their way back from the, like reeling back in your bobber, you know, coming back in from doing his business, just avoids the globe, almost like as if they microed around the globe. That just, that don't sit well with me. I see it a lot. It drives me crazy.
There's nothing that'll get you aware of globes faster than playing Mephisto. I know Li Ming's got her thing, and that's a fun one. But Mephisto's globe talent feels so good. I've been playing a little bit of Mephisto here and there. I took it into a ranked game on the main account. I won that thing. It was horrifying. I'm not sure I want to do it again. I'm not ready to experience that kind of emotional turmoil quite yet. But been working on my Mephisto. Kind of gave up on Orphea for the moment. We can talk about that for one. But Spite is a level 4 talent. Increased regeneration globe healing duration by 150%. Every tick of Regen Globe healing activates Lord of Hatred, reducing basic ability cooldowns by 1 second. So when you see Mephisto played in a high league environment, people are just feeding. There's so much awareness to it. The people are dancing around. They go, are you on your way? I'm on my way. Hold that thing for me. They will go absolutely nuts to make sure you get this, because otherwise you can only hit heroes to get your cooldown of your trait. Your trait being hitting enemy heroes with basic abilities reduces Mephisto's basic ability cooldown. So the only way your mage that you've drafted is going to actually lane clear is if you help give Mephisto orbs in the first place. And high league players, some of them, do take advantage of this. But so often it's on the tank's job. And if you don't have a tank main, they often don't know that job.
Okay. So you have a specific tank desire.
Very, very specific. I mean, you know, Zukov sometimes steps up and does it, like it, but it's a really important thing. So in this rant, it's great to yell at everybody and say, everybody please. But at the same time, there's a certain special someone that should do this job. And it's the tank.
Folks, what Kyle's trying to say is that his desires are unconventional.
Exactly. That is, I do like my weird heroes.
Do you have a hero dungeon?
Wait a minute. What happens in the dungeon?
And on that note, we're going to move into this week's strategy discussion.
Choose a talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? Ah, that seems generous.
Don't reveal our plans to our foes. I mean it. Not a word.
Getting away from 50 Shades of Kyle with a somewhat, some might say, let's call it solved meta. An established meta. With an established meta, that's a little long in the tooth. I thought it would be interesting to take a look at what I like to call sleeper heroes. Kyle. Are you familiar? Are you ready? Are you ready for me to learn you some car terminology?
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Are you familiar with the term sleeper as it pertains to cars?
No.
It's a car that is fast that does not look fast.
Oh, a Smurf.
I guess you could say that. I guess it is kind of a car version of a Smurf, although
like you're not done with the body yet. So yeah, you Smurfing that car?
Although now I'm imagining you put a Formula One driver in a Miata and he still owns everybody in cars that cost six times as much at the racetrack. But
Oh, okay. Well, that's the dude in the white outfit in the show you love.
Oh, the Stig.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Yeah. So it's something that's good that doesn't look like it. And in Heroes of the Storm, I think of a sleeper as an unpopular hero with a really good win rate. And I've been thinking about this because I'm like, I'm hearing so many people kind of talk about how I'm a little bored with the meta. I wish things would change. Well, you should take a look at popularity because I'm gonna head on over to the old faithful hot slogs. And I'm going to sort by popularity, Kyle. And this is popularity is like percentage of a hero being involved in a game, either picked or banned, would up your popularity. And there's some real low popularity heroes, but some of them have really high win rates. And so I made a top 5 in order of win rate. So starting us off is actually Lost Vikings. Lost Vikings, which shouldn't surprise anyone, because a very small percentage of us can play the Lost Vikings. I do not count myself among them. But Lost Vikings have a almost 5% popularity. By comparison, Zagara has a 35% popularity. Vala, 87%. Vala is either picked or banned in damn near every game of Heroes of the Storm League right now.
I believe it.
Give you an example. But Lost Vikings, barely 5%. Barely picked. Barely banned. Although, funny enough, banned twice as much as they are picked. And yet, they're sitting at a healthy 52% win rate. And now, when I saw Lost Vikings was going to wrap out the top 5, I wanted to add an honorable mention. Because I feel like saying, oh yeah, just go play Lost Vikings is a little tone deaf.
Sure.
And so I would, recommend right underneath them, slightly above them in win rate and slightly above them in popularity, which is why it technically doesn't make the list, is Rexar. Rexar has almost a 54% win rate, and yet is picked or banned in less than 8% of games.
Okay. All right. Hang on. What is Lost Vikings win rate in quick match? 54%. Oh, so it's slightly higher.
Slightly higher.
Okay, so yeah. One thing that Lost Vikings does really, really well right now is getting over a Stitches comp. Because it's so determined to do that one pick thing that something like Play It Again helps you recover from that big team fight and stay ahead in XP rather than losing your map presence. So Lost Vikings also a great Gazlo counter because he's so dedicated to one lane, unlike Zagara, who can kind of make up for it. I had a big spree in Lost Vikings in the past, but it was when we were playing ranked Blackheart's Bay.
Oh, you know what? I remember this. This is a while ago.
Yeah, 2016 probably.
Yeah, this is quite a while ago, but I do remember this. That was so relaxing.
Ranked Blackheart's Bay?
Yeah, well, when I played it with you when you were on your Lost Vikings kick, because we just got to stack the bottom lane while Lost Vikings kept us in the XP.
Yeah, and then you could do like managing the back camp, so you never had to give up that bottom. It's not as crazy as like Towers of Doom's meta is today. There was no dedicated kind of thing there. There was double soak, you had Butcher and you had Nazebo, and eventually Zool kind of joined that brigade. But okay, all right. So number 1 or number 5 here in your list, a tall order. What else you got?
All right, coming in at number 4, a slightly higher win rate, slightly higher popularity. You might be familiar with this one, Kyle. It's Mephisto. Mephisto,
nice,
is picked and banned less than 7% of the time, and yet is approaching a 53% win rate.
This is one that is heavily tracked by the Diamond Above community, though. You do not get to show up with a repeat name if you're a good Mephisto. I know 2 off the top of my head, and I always look for their names on the enemy side.
Yeah, but
Because
don't
the
you
damage
think
ramps up so dramatically.
Yeah, but I don't think Mephisto's a supremely tall order to be a plat, a gold, even a silver project.
No, I wouldn't say so at all. In fact, his big counter right now, I think I mentioned this on the show, that it's kind of an interesting sort of Varian Tracer scenario, but Stitches is really big right now, so we're not going to see low league Mephistos because you teleport in and Stitches eats the Mephisto, and now he can't go back to his recall place. However, you can kite the Stitches, and you can take movement speed talents and whatnot to help you out with this. So the Stitches actually gets baited into right in that zone of lightning and does horribly. But he's got those easier counters in easier leagues that make him very susceptible. Li Ming is one of them, able to frame up where the ghost is the shade is going to reappear, and Li Ming fires her stuff on time. That's going to hit hard. Sonya leaps, Garroshes, Maevs, Deckards. Deckards can be really good against Mephisto because they can set up a root zone, and it's timed out almost perfectly.
If you were to work on one thing at a time, and once you feel you mastered it, move on to the next, what order would it be? Because I would think that, say you're lower league and you're getting on Mephisto for the first time, that you should just focus in the beginning on not popping shade unless you're starting in a hidden area, either on the other side of a wall or from within a bush. I would say make that your number one priority. Worry about landing your Q later.
Yeah, I think that's really solid.
Okay. And then I would say number 2 is worry about landing your Q.
Yes, because then you're not gonna get any resets if you're not hitting heroes, and it does get kind of messy. His ults are also really particular, and I find there's a couple of heroes like this, and if they're not over-tuned, their ults are just so exact in what they do. And I think Cassie is a great example of this. Lightning Ball, Valkyrie, they don't both do the same thing, if you know what I mean. You can't just sort of interchange them out. They're going to be for very particular situations, and they're based on your own throughput. Lightning Ball, yeah, it hurts, but if Cassio's overall throughput isn't high enough, you don't care about the Lightning Ball because it's randomized. Durance of Hate is very much like that. You gotta be able to hit it for one, but if you can't clean up after you get it, and Consume Soul on a 120-second cooldown, I don't know how you fix this one. It's a dirty ult. Because if it was good, it'd be too good. Because hitting a whole enemy team after 2.5 seconds of channel, you want something to happen. You want to hear some dings. You want to feel awesome after standing there doing walk like an Egyptian or whatever he's doing there.
Oh my God, there's a reference I've been here a long time.
I could have brought up Ace of Base. I don't know other dances very well. Excuse me.
So often though in lower league games, I find it's always finishing the kill seems to be such a constant hurdle to clear, and I feel like Consume Souls helps you do that.
But on a 120-second cooldown, that's a lot. That's a long time.
You know,
I end up taking it.
I'm trying to sell people on Mephisto, Kyle. I'm trying to sell. Okay. Just worry about shade. Just worry about shade. Take Consume Souls, because Durance of Fate, there's a question mark on the value there, and it's dependent on everyone else.
Let me also share with you the big nub thing, which is beautiful. It's such a great nub thing. It's so much more. It's so much fun. At 13, you're going to get there and you're going to read Hysteria, and you're going to see Lord of Hatred also reduces the cooldown of Mephisto's heroic abilities, and you're going to go, oh my goodness, that's more Consume Souls. It's not a 120-second cooldown, Kyle. Not at 13. That's great, but you're missing all your other spells anyway. So don't worry about that right now. There's this beautiful thing called Shard of Hatred, where your basic attacks now do a bounce kind of lightning thing. And it's so good for lane clear. And you don't have to spend your spells to lane clear anymore, which means you have your spells when the whole team shows up so you can actually get your resets. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to have no lane clear. So you're going to pop your lightning. Now you're stuck on full cooldown, which sucks. At 14 seconds, that's going to feel awful. And you could have just taken this beautiful thing called Shard of Hate. It's great. Also,
Yeah.
really excited to see him in full graphics. He's the one I'm most curious about. I want to see him real gross looking.
Not my favorite design, but I'm excited for you. All right, coming in at number 3, Samoro.
Okay.
Are you noticing a trend yet?
These are all very particular heroes that take a lot of work to get good at.
Yeah. Well, I might call them snowflake heroes. They're very special, and everyone is different. But Sammy is again. The win rate starts to climb even higher here. Damn near 40 or 54% win rate here, and yet banned and picked in less than 6% of games.
Yeah, Sammy's such an interesting one. Zeratul can do what Lost Vikings and Sammy do, but with the more pure throughput that makes you feel good about yourself. I think there's kind of there's a risk reward there that you kind of go, but at least I got the kill with Zeratul. Whereas Lost Vikings, Sammy, you kind of have to go, but at least I kept them busy for a very long time. And you need to be okay with that fact. I had a game this week with a Sammy who just worked the map. They were constantly pushed out. He was using a Blade Storm to clear waves. It's so disappointing. Something about your brain goes an alt to clear waves. What am I doing with my life? But it's great because he has bad lane clear otherwise.
It's the butter robot from Rick and Morty all over again.
Yeah.
What is my purpose?
One job. And you want to spin on them. You do. I totally get that. But you're interruptible. You can have all sorts of bad things happen to you when normally you would not be having those bad things happen to you because be switching around and stuff. Burning Blade does do some splash for your lane clearance stuff, but it just doesn't get it done in the same way. I think Sammy's incredible as long as they are playing in a style that's not about kills. It's about map management.
It's a good way to put it. It's a good way to paint it. All right, coming in number 2, it's Tracer. Almost up to a 55% win rate and climbing, Kyle. Tracer's on the climb right now. And yet, Bander picked 7% of games.
Well, again, those 7% are probably exact names that people are aware of.
Again, yeah, up in your league. The rest of us mere mortals, not so much.
I think she's a lot of fun. I do think both Sammy and Tracer kind of benefit from exploitation of bugs, and bugs that have been around so long, they're now features, and who can blame them? They're very, finicky and teleporty heroes. I would expect things to have very particular interactions on them. I don't think we want to live in a world where those bugs might disappear and then they have their damage increase to compensate. So we're stuck in an odd place. But I think Tracer is a really good project hero because you're just going to have a really good time in quick match learning that hero.
I agree. I think probably the most straightforward of the heroes we're going to talk about today. But we'll come back to that when we wrap up with number 1 here. Number 1 hero, which meets the criteria of notably high win rate and woefully low popularity, is none other than Kerrigan, who has almost cracked 55% win rate and yet picked or banned 4% of the time.
Kerrigan hits like a truck.
Yes. And there's not much you can do about it. Unless you're like an all CC team and she dives into all of you.
Man, she could use some talent diversification.
Kerrigan, I want to say, has had the same build since like 2016.
I believe there was that big rework where she got like the splashy attack and stuff like that. So there was a change up.
The
but
build
I think
did not change much, if at all, if I remember correctly.
No, I don't think like basic abilities changed. I know that's also when she got her psionic shift, her unique version of Bolt of the Storm and all that sort of business.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find out when that was. But Kerrigan, Fury of the Swarm, her level 1 talent pick, gained 10% more assimilation shields from basic attacks after casting Ravage. Kerrigan's next basic attack within 3 seconds splashes for 100% damage around the target. Like the talents that are really good for Kerrigan are really, really good. I wonder if her popularity's held back by that then. Because you might wander into Kerrigan and be like, what am I going to take? What's all this? how does this work? And you end up burning out before you discover the one build.
To me, it's always been psychological. I think losing on Kerrigan feels amongst the worst feelings you can have in Heroes of the Storm. You can feel absolutely powerless to do anything when you end up against a comp that punishes her. Talking like she's still susceptible to like, being manhandled by Diablos and CC heavy teams. Which is interesting because you and I spent so much time last week talking about the CC heavy meta, and yet here is Kerrigan as one of the top performing heroes of the last multiple patches.
You weren't wrong, actually, here. I assumed much sooner, more recent, and you assumed much later,
What are
more
you talking
distant. The patch, it was actually 2018 September was her rework.
Yeah. I want to say, I believe the big change on that was we stopped going Maelstrom and we started going Ultralisk, and everything else basically stayed the same.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're absolutely right. Looks like she lost her block. She lost Sharpened Blades, Clean Kill, and Venom. Oh my God. She
was moldy.
Really lingered.
She was moldy. But again, Kyle, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
Since that patch. So
she's gotten a couple of balance updates, but
Yeah.
most have been like to just managing her health and her basic attack.
Yeah, she's somewhat binary. She does one thing, she does it very well, and it takes practice, and that's her combo. Or she's heavily map dependent, overperforming on maps like Infernal Shrines, for example.
Do you do Sharpened Blades at 4?
Minions and heroes that die with it. Yes, 100%. Yes.
How does that work for you in like a solo QE environment?
It means I can kind of lane when other people aren't, which makes me happy because there's nothing that makes me angrier than bad wave clear.
Because we do Kerrigan a lot on Baby on Board at Cavalier Regest's request, but it was Diva. I would be on the shrine for the first shrine entirely, and Kerrigan would do a double soak to get this quest done fast enough to actually have an impact.
Oh, that's sexy. Yeah, it's solo queue.
Yeah.
That's not really something you could do. Although I bet you could engineer it where you just keep visiting 2 lanes and your team kind of gets used to it and no one complains.
Yeah, it's not like a rotating melee assassin would be out of people's minds entirely, some foreign idea.
Yeah, I've never really
interesting seeing that 74% for Summon Ultralisk.
pick rate. Yep, and I mean the win rate's so much higher. Maelstrom straight up has a below 50% win rate.
Yeah.
Whereas Summon Ultralisk has a 56% win rate. Currently looking at the last 2 patches. We could change it to the most recent. And no change whatsoever.
I am not surprised at all either to see the Psionic Shift, her Bolt of the Storm custom, as the highest pick rate. That thing is insane.
It's grody, man. I mean, but the counter to Kerrigan, other than them being high CC, is not being near the Kerrigan.
Yeah.
But with Psionic Shift, it's one more way Kerrigan can just guarantee she can be near you. So, yeah. Kerrigan, I think, can be punishing, and yet I think she's almost neck and neck for Tracer for me. Looking at this top 5, being, Kerrigan at the top, Tracer, Samoro, Mephisto, Lost Vikings, and I would swap Rexer out for Lost Vikings if I was even considering that. I want to kind of be a lane hero that brings a lot. I think more people should try and learn Kerrigan. The combo isn't as hard as you think.
No, and in fact, more people play Alarak than Kerrigan because that's just Kerrigan with additional steps.
And no silence. I think there's something very appealing, very, very sexy, very stylish about being able to silence your opponents.
Right. But the majority of people silence them and then go, I did it, everybody, and start walking the other direction. I got stacks. We're set.
And
Kerrigan
I
actually
helped.
completes the kill.
Yeah. And Kerrigan goes, they're dead.
Yeah,
I bodied them.
Exactly. In our Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Alarak's more of the foot, and Kerrigan forms the head. I think her damage is great. I really like Mephisto. Tracer's buzzy, but she can get the business done. I think Mephisto and Kerrigan have so much damage that they can actually work in the majority of comps. and we perhaps overreact to them as weirdos.
Yeah. The other thing you want to hear, you want to hear a partially maybe a controversial tip from me?
Yes.
You want to know how I learned the Kerrigan combo? Against AI.
Nothing wrong with that.
I learned how to land it consistently against AI, and it helps a lot because you learn there's a very specific like tempo to it.
I never learned the Kerrigan combo. I did one stream, and my audience still remembers this day. I did a stream where I think it was Kerrigan rework day. I played 5 Kerrigan games in a row, lost them all horribly. And Kristen goes, "No, you do it like this," and then wins her next game. And I think I ended the stream there. I was exhausted.
Does your stream remember this day, or does your stream not let you forget this day?
That might be more true. I think there would be a very large social hurdle for me to get back on Kerrigan.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna text Kristen and tell her to berate you into playing Kerrigan again.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm often reminded that I haven't actually beat Dark Souls either because I didn't beat the expansion pack. So they're not even called expansion packs. DLC, excuse me.
Kristen is harsh.
Yeah, it's a tight ship.
It's harsh, Kristen. Yeah.
I love Mephisto though. I love Mephisto. I think he's really good. I think he's got a really good kit, and the easy build is great. And of this list, Kerrigan and Mephisto would be the ones I tell people to go and work on.
I'd go with Kerrigan Tracer. I'd go with those top 2 right there. But I do think maybe Lost Vikings, because to me, Lost Vikings is just like learning an entire new video game. You might as well go learn StarCraft, because I think it's a similar amount of micromanagement that is required. But I think any of these, Kerrigan, Tracer, Samuro, Mephisto, Lost Vikings, I think you could pick any of these if they sound really exciting and something that gets you stoked and makes you want to learn, and I think you'd be fine. But I also truly believe that you get to work on one of these. You do not get to work on 2 of these. I think most of us, these are such specific heroes and they have such specific kits.
Yeah. Chat's not wrong either. That Tracer is probably the only one of these that you could reliably work on in quick match. Maybe you could like Lost Vikings spam, but
yeah, I think there's a lot you could learn with Kerrigan there, but I think you have to harden your heart. I think you need to accept that you are going to get bonkers ass compositions that completely punish your entire existence, and you need to set your own success measurements. It's not about winning, but it's about landing more combos more often and adjusting to the play of real humans on the other side. I think that's what you try and take away from those quick match Kerrigan games.
Learning that lesson of you can't hit Q just because it's available. That's the one I'm awful at.
Or you play it like slot machines, and when you get Infernal Shrines, you go, "I got the jackpot." That's the other one, dude. You get treat it like a battleground slot machine and just get excited when it starts buzzing and Infernal Shrine shows up. So, yeah. All that info is available at hotslogs.com right now, and we've got a link in the show notes and also this top 5 list right there in case you want to revisit it. Kyle, let's dig into the mailbag and see what folks are talking about this week.
Darkness stopped calling.
Does anyone else hear that buzzing?
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. That's itncast. Or if you're a patron over at patreon.com/itn, just let us know what's on your mind in the patron Discord. Skip the inbox entirely, which is what Valkymer did this week. Valk writes, "Is Heroes ready for additional bans?" Which I will add, sent our Discord into a debate. Debatey Discord. This question caused.
Where are you at?
No.
No?
No, I'm at like, no. I mean, maybe there's a world where we consider drastically shortening the amount of time you have to pick things, but that comes with its own issues and concerns. But the draft phase already takes so damn long. And to me, I get more excited about patches because of how it shifts up bans. Because I get bored is seeing the same bands over and over again and never seeing the heroes that are consistently banned in my games. And I feel like adding one more ban would just grossly extend the amount of time we just essentially had heroes deleted from draft environment.
That's fair. That's fair. And that's kind of the counterpoint to the whole Zagara business too. Is that, well, yeah, it has sucked a little bit, but at the same time, we have had Vala comps. We've seen stitches here and there. It's added that variety that we didn't have 1 month ago.
Yeah, like as much as I hate losing to an overpowered hero, I hate not getting to learn how to even try and exist against them even more. Like I want to be in an environment, sorry, as I smack the mic like a total amateur, where we as a community can at least have hope of solving the puzzle in a counterplay way. And right now with the Zagara, like maybe there is. Like I don't know. I look at this and I go, Zagara has been banned so much that I wonder, maybe there is. Maybe there's some beautiful comp out there. There's a counter comp, there's counterplay, there's a counter way you can draft that actually deals with this damn hero. And I truly believe that we haven't seen enough Zagara make it through drafts to even have a chance of learning that.
That's fair. That's dirty Zagara thoughts right there. That's just a Zagara trying to get away with things. But I agree with you.
I truly meant I didn't have any personal baggage there intentionally.
I just remember saying the same thing about when Li Ming came out. I'm like, oh no, you don't need to nerf this. This is so much fun.
I miss Wave Clear Calamity so much, Kyle. I can't even.
My thought is very much in the same way. I'm cool with more bans, but we got to make sure that draft doesn't grow in time. If it increases the duration of that draft, we're talking about like just losing track of the horse here, and that through line's getting lost. I would love us to be in a world where we have enough heroes, and maybe we do, where draft fires up, everybody gets one. And I don't think that'd be any more bizarre or toxic than what happens right now when one person makes the choice, right? Like I think there's fears associated with that, like, oh well, they're gonna yell at me because I'll ban the thing I hate the most, but they wanted me to spend my ban on X and they did Y instead because then they tell me to ban. That's no different than us all pounding one particular person either. So I think that'd be glorious fun. Then you can ban exactly what you hate.
I want less control, not more. I don't know. Like I lean more towards even when whatever. I feel like my heroes are always the target of nerfs, so I've just kind of given up at this point. So at this point, I'm like, burn it down, burn everything down. Nothing is precious. Blow everything up and start over.
You're just an early adapter. You're too good at the game. Is the problem.
I feel like you're being an ass.
Yeah, a little bit, but no, in all seriousness, like there are players who are really good at sensing when something has a niche or is very powerful, and you have selected a amount of heroes, a select group that does tend to be in that featured area. Whereas and then I've got my own problems, which are I tend to pick heroes that have tons of counters and fall desperately in love with them.
Oh, you're so tortured, Kyle.
I am.
You're Shinji. Oh no, I have an awesome giant robot. My life is so hard.
I'm so disturbed by these gifts I receive.
I live with a penguin. What kid wouldn't be stoked?
I think you should head back towards Gazlo a little bit, though.
Yeah,
doing really well.
I do miss Gazlo. I do miss Gazlo. I should get back on the Gaz.
No, but in all seriousness, like there's different types of gamers, and you have a way of maximizing your time, and you analyze things and love stats like hot slogs, so that when you play something, you know that it's kind of the best of the best at the moment, which is going to leave you vulnerable to more bans.
I really just like solo laning, and they have been typically the target of nerfs for the last 2 years.
That is very true. Yes, you systematically you have been hunted down for anything that adds variety that's not big beef boy in the lane.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Super Jazzy, or wait, rhymes with space? Super Jace.
Yeah.
Super Jace writes in, I like, I just want to say Jazzy now because it's fun to say.
Well, they left instructions.
Well, Super Jace writes in and says, do you think that it would be a good idea to attach loadouts to each skin instead of each hero, so each skin has 3 loadouts, and perhaps allow setting the skin selection to random selection pregame from all loadouts, and even setting the announcer to random? Jace continues by saying, that way all the effort put into creating mounts and skins and other cosmetics could be better utilized by those of us who really appreciate the game visual effort that has been poured into this great game, one of the things that really sets it apart from other MOBAs. I think the loadout on each skin and then 3 loadouts within is a little much, but I love the idea of random skin, random announcer, and maybe 1 loadout per skin. I think would be cool because there's so many skins.
That's true. Like each theme of skin, I would really enjoy that because there's like 4 colors for some. But if I could choose that, this is my Reinhardt Johanna, and then we're gonna act inside that sphere, that'd be really nice because very rarely am I ever like, all right, this slot is my blue Johanna and this one is my golden Johanna. I'm not gonna vary those sort of things based on what I'm playing. I love the idea of random announcers. I think announcers are a really cool way to freshen up just how you're experiencing the game, and I would turn that on in a second.
Yeah, I would too, because every once in a while I go in and I just change them up, and I'm like, oh damn, yeah, I forgot how cool this X announcer is. It's like my favorite is the adjutant. Like I love just being, because I miss StarCraft, but not enough to actually like get decent at StarCraft again. So hearing Adjutant just ramble on and just feeling like I'm back in Wings of Liberty, dude, it's like that's my comfort place. It's just, I'm home.
I feel you. I feel you there. Mine is Butcher because he ain't got nothing to say. Meat and grunts. And that is probably my most equipped one. Because I know. I'm watching the mini map. I know stuff's coming out. You don't gotta tell me about it. I just want something to get me a little jazzed. Make me feel like someone's cheering for me. I wish I had a full like Hearthstone crowd, just as the announcer. I'd love.
How do we not have the innkeeper? How do we not have the innkeeper?
Oh, that's a good point.
Wow, legendary! As you take down a freaking keep or whatever.
I'm just talking about like when Hearthstone first came out and like tomorrow, and like you play a big creature and everybody cheers. Like just that effect blows my mind.
Oh, Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
so Smash Brothers thing.
Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I love that bit. That would be great in Heroes of the Storm.
Now Final Fantasy has Final Fantasy 14 changes music or changes tempos and stuff based on where you're on the fight. I'm like, this is genius. This is a great feature.
That's like because my second favorite announcer, I can never remember the name, but the Nexomania, Luchador announcer. I think that's part of the reason I like that, because it kind of has that crowd feel to it, because it's like stadium overgained up microphone.
Yeah,
that one just makes me happy. It like gets me pumped, gives me life, Kyle.
If we're gonna take one moment of effort to change something in the game, let's make some loadouts for ARAM. That if there's a group of players who can whale this game a little bit and want some cosmetics, it's ARAM players. That queue is still 2 seconds long. It is always packed, and they have no need for skins because it's all randomized. At a time, it was this great opportunity for them to maybe experience other skins and go, wow, I never really thought about Gold Garrosh on the Viper bike. That's a cool combo. That's great. I might go do that myself, but they don't go do that because they're playing ARAM the whole time.
That's a good point. I mean, yeah, so if something like this did come in, that would be a good time to flip that switch, right? And say, yeah, you can, once you set these, we'll pull from them in ARAM.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that'd be so exciting. Sit there.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I've got a lot of collectibles. Every once in a while, it's time to dust, and dusting means I got to move them all, and it means, I get to set them back up. I just get to sit there and play with my toys. Yes, I'm 34, and I'm okay with it. I am comfortable with myself.
That's okay. We do you pick toys here. Like you do at the farm. You go down to the farm, you get the box. You pick some berries, and then you pay based on weight, right? So me and my son, he'll come in here. We play You Pick action figures. He goes to my shelf. He grabs a bunch. We put them in a little basket. We go out to the living room, check out what we got.
That's adorable.
Yeah, and then we put them back so they don't get boring.
Wow, that is such a wholesome share. Like I'm just like I feel warm inside. Just I can you tell that I miss you, that I haven't seen you in years in person?
Yeah.
And it's bumming me out. It's been a while. It's been too long, friend.
We'll be together again soon.
That sounds so epic. It's like
you're
gonna show up on a white horse on a hill.
About it.
Except I live in Florida, so there's no hill for you to show up on. You're gonna show up on a white horse up a parking garage ramp.
There you go. Yes, a parking garage is the Florida hill. Perfect. You know what? I was going to make arguments that there are hills in Florida, but you know what? That's so much better. I really like it.
We can go to North Florida. You go to North Florida. I'm a UF student now. We go to Gainesville. Oh, but you're, I forgot. You're a FSU
Florida
grad.
State, yeah. Grad.
Yeah, you could catch on fire. You step foot in Gainesville. That's how it works.
It's true. Can't drink Gatorade.
Oh, you poor thing. You're stuck with Powerade.
Poison.
I'm so sorry.
Poison.
Ugh. Powerade's so bad.
Yeah, it is. Their blue sucks compared to Gatorade blue.
Kashatar in chat room says we should go to Bach Tower.
What's Bach Tower?
It's outside of Orlando. It's pretty cool.
Wait, is that the medical tower that never got finished? The I-4 eyesore?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Great name though.
No, this is like a historical landmark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's the highest point in Florida. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Kashatar. Yeah. Well, Frolino, Super Jace. Thank you. Now we're going to take Frolino 95's question. It says, me and my duo buddy recently found a third friend interested in playing the game, in particular, tanking. He's not completely new to the concept of MOBAs. He was one of the poor souls that were playing Paragon. That's just so real. F in chat for Paragon, everybody. But despite his previous experience with the genre, we find it particularly difficult to explain his role and what he should mechanically do in fights and whatnot. Without dumping info on him like a waterfall of, quote, stay in that. Did we ask this question already?
No, this is newer.
Stay in that bush while we do the camp. When we lost the fight, rotate bot, grab some experience, and wait for us to come back alive. What do you think is the best and easiest or most important stuff a new tank should know? And in what order do you think it's better to explain them to him? Why does this sound so familiar?
Because we've had this conversation many times. Maybe we have done this exact thing, but it's totally worth doing again, even in short form. So Cavalier Guess Art of the Tank is the full rundown of everything a tank should possibly be doing. But I absolutely commiserate with the feeling of don't info dump on them. But yes, they have to know a lot of stuff.
No, you're right. I just ran a search. We have not answered this question before, but it does sound very familiar. Yeah, there's a lot.
I would say
I do tend to focus on the kind of the anchoring part above almost all else.
Okay. But I don't think anchoring like excites. I think focusing on engagement, like you and I have been enjoying that very in Li Ming recently. And so by coming up with a combo that is dependent on your cooldowns and their cooldowns, you can create an environment where it gets exciting. Are you on cooldown? I'm on cooldown. Like you and I did Maw and Ragnaros Hammer Space Smash.
I don't think we ever actually pulled it off, did we?
I missed. You hit a couple and I was either on cooldown or I missed, but all the same. It was exciting to try. That sort of stuff is going to have feedback that the game gives you and you're going to be feeling good about it. Whereas I agree with the email writer that the sitting in the bush while you guys are doing middle Khazra, yeah, I remember, camps on Infernal Shrines is really, really important. But it's also terribly boring for the tank because they want to hit the things. They want to go hit some goatmen.
Yeah, I feel like at a base level, tanks know they want to engage, and that already I think it's so different depending on what your comp is. Because if I'm on Li Ming, it's one thing. If I'm on Zagara, it's another. Vice versa. Whereas if you explain a concept of anchoring, that is a constant. Doesn't matter what tank you're playing. It doesn't matter what map you're on. But if you're talking about the engagements like we just talked about, you're basically talking about combos with your teammates and calling out cooldowns.
Yeah,
that's my defense of anchoring, of teaching anchoring.
Yeah, the other weird one, of course, is if they're coming from, they didn't mention here, but if they're coming from World of Warcraft, most World of Warcraft tanks are horrible tanks in MOBAs because they're thinking about those sort of regen aspects and absorbing damage that would otherwise be avoidable.
That's fair. I mean, that's a good that's a good concept to teach too, right? Is that like damage is avoidable? Like, don't take it unless you need to.
I mean, nowadays, I think the game language has developed for things like MMOs, where there's often circles on the ground that you don't stand in, and those skills do translate. But so often, I've heard from newer players on Murden, for instance, they were all attacking me. Why didn't my team make something out of that?
Then yeah, I guess. All right, good defense of teaching engaging, Kyle. You win.
That's what I'm going for. But I do think that the ward is really important, and the problem is that's where I suffer the most of all. So what helped me get over that just boredom, I hate sitting in that bush, it drives me nuts, was interrupting rotations. Being Diablo, flame stomping. So let's imagine top, middle, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Being Johanna, circling onto their half and hitting the mounted players with a blind, so they now rotate slower. Or doing the flame stomp on Diablo and knocking him off that mount. I am technically warding, but thank goodness I have something active I'm doing, dismounting them. And now I have a feedback that my brain goes, mess with ya. Gotcha. Anyway, back to farming.
I mean, I don't think it would be a bad thing to have a conversation with them about essentially a sampler. Like, here are the concepts of tanking. But say maybe only focus on one at a time. Yeah, I think interrupting the rotation goes hand in hand with anchoring. So maybe combine those two if you feel like that's what they need to work on. But maybe make it themed nights if you want to. Like, tonight, let's work on engages. Tonight, let's work on anchoring. Tonight, let's work on peeling and body blocking.
That's true.
Peeling and body blocking go together. Anchoring and interrupting rotation go together. Engaging is just its own bag of tricks.
That's how I taught. In fact, when I was real young, I don't remember what age anymore, but I taught my sister how to play Magic the Gathering I made a very basic, it was a blue deck, so it's all like fish and stuff like that, 2/2s, all plain. And then I kept inserting in over the weeks different card instants, sorceries, and I upped the deck eventually into something that was very complicated. So you only had to learn one thing at a time. And by not overwhelming her, I got a magic buddy. I got to test all my decks. It was awesome. So I like your idea about the comps, because you two, in complete silence, could influence what they're learning that night. You know, oh, we've got this really cool Liming comp. You do Varian. We're going to pull this off. We work on engages tonight. And then you say, well, we're going to do, you do stitches. Oh, why don't you try out stitches? You go sit in that bush. See if you could find something. Like, try to hook somebody. And, oh, they're in the bush. They're warding. But they feel like they have something fun they're doing.
Lie to your friends. It's fun.
It's not lying. It's
deceive your friends.
It's information to encourage discovery. Because the last thing when you have a new hobby, let's say I got in your car and I'm like, Garrett, there's a third pedal. And you go, you dumbass, of course there's a third pedal. What if instead you were like, you're right. Do you want to know what that pedal does? I would be way more on board to figure out what that third thing does.
I think that if we could go one layer deeper here, which is like knowing your friend and the social engineering of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type of person, I like being pretty literal. My favorite teachers in school were the ones that were kind of mean to me, because then I was like, oh, I want to impress them. Right?
That's true.
That's kind of how I'm like, no, just hit me with everything, and then I'll tell you when I'm confused, and I'll let you know what I'm most interested in and what I want you to explain further. So that I would say you probably know how your friend reacts. So you probably know whether you need to be like really literal and frank and upfront with them, or if you need to gamify it a little bit more.
That's true. And I assume in your kind of case, like you would feel maybe even betrayed to a level like, why didn't you tell me about all this sooner? Why were you withholding information?
A little bit, yeah. Because like I don't know. I've gotten to a point where I'm like totally comfortable being like, yeah, I'm overwhelmed. This is too much. Let's pare this down. How do we organize this? I'm very organizational. I love bullet points. I don't know if anyone's ever looked at the show notes before. But I like hierarchies. I like groups. I like order I like making order out of chaos, but I'm not against dumping out all my Legos before I organize them, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'd say you probably know what kind of how your friend likes to take in information, and I'd say play off of that. Because it seems like you already have kind of ordered the tank strategies in your head because you're concerned about overwhelming them. So take that into account and either give them a sampler and ask them, all right, what are you most interested in? What do we want to work on? Or if they show interest, maybe just guide them down that path instead.
Well said.
So thank you, Ferlino. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Keep the emails coming, everybody. itncast@gmail.com. And patrons, you can drop a message in the Discord, skip the inbox entirely. But folks, if you're not a patron, don't let that scare you. Keep the emails coming. We check them, and if we haven't gotten them to today, don't worry. We keep them. We'll get to them eventually. So, anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. If you're watching live or listening to it very shortly after it was posted, and you want to come and hang out tonight, we are doing our monthly game night hangout with our patrons. The Patron Bonanza is this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be streaming it over on Kyle's channel, so come join us on twitch.tv/Kyle Fergusson. And I don't think I've ever pointed this out before, but Fergusson has 2 S's in it. You're not one of those 1S Fergussons.
No, that's a plumbing company.
I worked with a 1S Fergusson for a full year, and I misspelt his name almost every time for that full year.
I'm flattered.
There's only one Fergusson in my life.
Yeah, the sons of Fergus.
Yes.
Not sure what's going. They're not even sons. I don't even know where their name came from.
Fergus sounds like a joke god in D&D. I'm sorry, I don't know why. There's just something funny about it.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Fergusson doesn't sound funny, but something about like Fergus.
Yeah,
it's like
Hi, Fergus. Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Too close to a fern. It's like a weird plant god.
Fergus.
Yeah. Can you tell that there's ferns currently taking over the plants I would like to keep around the front of my house? And ferns might be on my mind.
I figured it was all palms and
palmetto bushes do suck, but they're luckily not too bad in my area. But anyways, folks, if you want to be a part of those Patreon games, or maybe you just love what we're doing here and you want to support us here on our independent podcast called Into the Nexus, you can do so over at patreon.com/ITN. Really appreciate the support over there. And huge thanks to our producers, by the way, Declan H, Cheesy Bob, Chris K, Sean B, and Mike R. Thank you for the support, producers. Other than that, you can catch us live Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. Follow the show at ITNcast on Twitter. And, one more note about the Patreon. I had a couple people recently ask if we could add higher tiers. Because they were like, yeah, I don't want to be a producer, but I would like to give you a little bit more. And this question has come up enough, Kyle, that I don't think it is abundantly clear on Patreon that you can set the amount to whatever you would like. It is something you can do.
That's true.
When you enter your pledge, you can customize it to be any amount. So if you're like, I'm really digging the show, I want to give you a little bit more, you can. Just because it's not a predetermined level that we set, those are just suggestions. You can give us whatever you'd like.
Right. But we do have specialist support and main tank. Maybe there's an assassin or a bruiser that could be made in there. I'm not saying you get anything special, but other than if you want the title, maybe it's the title they want.
Kyle, we need to work on your salesman pitch.
Of course, there's going to be something special. I apologize. The specialness is the title that you thus seek. I don't. We're gonna be over there.
Yeah. All right. Other than that, Kyle, where else can folks find you when you're not over there?
You can find me over at AO's Clubhouse, which is my Pokemon Unite podcast to do with Mockery and Kaiberries. You might know them from the Heroes of the Storm spheres. Lots and lots of stuff going on over there right now. Help us out by giving us a subscribe on the YouTube as we seek out that coveted custom URL as we approach those numbers. Really appreciate that. Beyond that, everything I do is over at kylefergusson.com.
Sick. I can be found at Garrett Art, amove.tv for this podcast and every single other one that I produce. But this week, Kyle, do you know what I want to promote more than anything else?
Cars?
No, this damn feed, because we're doing 2 uploads a week.
Thing. Yes, the thing.
2 uploads a week. You get Into the Nexus. You get Nexus Gaming News. You get a completely oblivious Kyle Fergusson when I'm trying to pimp cool shit.
All right.
You can hear Kyle and I talking about Diablo 2 Resurrected. The beta was this past weekend. We have seen 2 fully restored, redone from the ground up Diablo 2 cinematics, and you and I had a long conversation about the history of failings with Warcraft 3 Reforged and our skepticism going into Diablo 2. And so if you want to see where we stand, where I, someone who talked mad shit about Diablo 2 Resurrected when I was talking to my good buddy here, Kyle, live during BlizzCon Line, so much has changed. G. Allen Brack was still employed back then. You can go listen. It's on this feed. Just go back one episode. Go give it a listen. But also, Kyle, you kicked ass on the video version of this. You stepped up and you said, Garrett, I've got a thing. I want visuals. I want the YouTube version to be more special. And you did it. You made it happen. You set up the video recording. You were bringing up visual aids and showing examples of the cinematics as we were talking about it. And you can see all of that in full over at youtube.com/amovetv. So if you were not subscribed, that's right. We're dusting off the original AMoveTV YouTube, which got to a point where I didn't know what was happening with it anymore. So people were like, I don't watch the full YouTube, or I don't watch the full podcast on there. So we moved over to AMove 2, which is where the full uncut versions of this happen, if you want to see that in video form. But we're bringing it back online. The original youtube.com/amovetv is back from the dead, and it has the most visually interesting video content you and I have ever made on it right now.
Unless you really like our faces. Then so this is cut by 50%. But
I mean, listen. Was I wearing a hat? No, I did my hair. That's right. No, never mind. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, go check it out. I'm really stoked with the effort Kyle put in this past week. So it'd be a waste if you don't go look at how pretty it is. youtube.com/amovetv. That's going to do it for this episode of Into the Nexus. Until next time, everybody. Good luck and have fun.
Take care.